They're not. Yeah, they're not bad. I mean, we went there and stuff. They're not bad. Yeah.
Car washes.
Hotel scene up there died a little bit when
Well, right. Yeah, they don't need as many since the Jogga Lake and all that went down. Yeah, it was crazy then. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, especially when they had SeaWorld and Jogga Lake there. That's a lot. No, Aurora took that over. They're doing something with that property, but
Nothing exciting really when you look at the plans.
is it really? I haven't.
It's like some
walking trail.
Oh, is it just a real small little thing? Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's no fun. That's a shame.
We rolling? Good? Okay. Well, I appreciate you all joining us. I'll call to order the Ravenna City Council meeting for Tuesday, September 5th at 6 p.m. We're going to run through a couple agenda items, and then I'll turn it over to the mayor here in a second. But the first item on the agenda is a moment of meditation and silence. And would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for being here tonight for the swearing in. I'd also like to thank you and the rest of the employees of the city of Ravenna that aren't here for the fine work that they did last week with the storm that came through. It was, I know it was trying for a lot of people, and sometimes they don't see the guys out working, but they were out working. We had to go and identify, and the police were often the first ones to see where the problems were. But we were very happy with the effort that went in. We still have some cleanup that we're working on, but I just want you to know I appreciate the effort that all of you put into that last week. Now, if Jose would come forward. Hi, Jose, come over here. All right. Raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I, Jose Acklin, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, the laws and ordinances of the City of Ravenna, abide by the rules and regulations of the Ravenna City Police Department, and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of part-time dispatcher for the City of Ravenna, State of Ohio, during my tenure in said capacity. Congratulations. We're glad to have you. You'll have to sign this. Well, somewhere there's a pen. I'll let you sign this. Come on, wherever you're comfortable with it. You're up here. And we'll get a copy of this made for you. And Heather will chase this stuff down for you. Okay. Once again, we're very grateful for those of you that came tonight for the meeting. This is an important position for us. We take a lot of pride in our police and fire departments. And they are essential, but I always feel comfortable when they're on the job. And there's a lot of people that can't say that with that. So you're part of that group now, okay? Did you want to get some pictures? Okay? You need any other?
Do you want to take us somewhere, or? I thought you were gonna put it right here so it would cover me. Hide behind it. Where's Ryan? I don't know.
You know, I tell you how this happened. Play tennis ball for
Your fan club on left, Dennis. Sorry.
volleyball here in the roof.
Your fan club on left.
Everybody go.
Your fan club's gone.
After about 2 decades, I stopped playing. And it was about a year and a half, and it was killing me, because I couldn't play, I wanted to be back. So I said, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna draft in Connecticut, I'm gonna stay on the outside, I'm not doing anything contact. So, you know, about a week and a half later, so, Ernie Mouse, 6 foot, was short, 270, and they had John Davison come this way. And we chucked my noses over the roof. So I was upset. So there was that padding behind the basket. Those bucks out of my hand.
Yeah.
So, broken nose, broken hand. Did you score? Oh, because you're not gonna have with the basket.
All right. We'll move. Chelsea, would you call the roll?
Mr. Kelfield?
Here.
Ms. West? Here. Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Here.
Mr. Karas?
Here.
Ms. Wood? Mr. Harper?
Here.
And do we have a motion to excuse Ms. Wood this evening?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we have approval of the meeting minutes from the regular city council meeting of August 7th and the public hearing meeting from August 21st. Were there any additions or corrections to either of those? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept as submitted?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And on the communications front, we have a letter from the Board of Elections and the Northeast Public Officials Breakfast Reception that I believe already happened, and then the letter from Celebrate Portage about the Dora that's coming up September 28th, which is a Thursday, if anybody wants to go. Is there any other communications? Okay. So this evening, do we have any delegations from the public? Anyone would like to speak before council? Yeah. Yep, just if you want to step up and state your name and your address. Yep.
Okay, I'm here because I'm being charged $100 for a nuisance mowing, and I brought my papers that they sent, and you can look at them. I would like for you to pass these around. This is before the mowing and after the mowing.
Can you let us know your name and address so we
Yep.
can document that?
I wrote them down, but it's 153, it's on here, 153 Oakwood Street.
Thank you.
My name is Sanda, and I I was told this is the only way I can see the mayor. This is
That's
before.
not me.
How is that? My door's
That's what they-
open all the time.
That's what they told me.
Well, I have an open
I was
door
here,
policy.
I came here,
When?
after I got this, and they were charging me
No.
$100.
I'm here. Now, last week I was gone a
No,
few
it wasn't
days.
last week, this is back in June.
Oh, wow.
So I left a letter, and then I got a reply back about a month later.
Okay, in June is when I go to the beach, so I probably
You
wasn't.
might not have been here.
And when you say they, can you just clarify they? Who told
At the
you?
office. I came in.
So you came into City Hall, and City Hall told you that this is the only way that you see the mayor? Okay, I just want that on the record, that nobody from, have you talked to anybody from council about this?
No, no. I
No?
just
Okay.
came here.
I just want that stated.
But that's the before picture and then after
Understood. Thank you.
picture is on there, and it's called nuisance mowing.
Yep.
All right,
Excuse me, do you know who you spoke to at the front desk?
no. No, a lady.
Well, it's obvious, but can you remember what she looked like?
No, she had brown hair, and she wasn't little.
Because I've
Medium
never,
size.
I've never heard the secretary tell anybody that they can't see the mayor.
Well, maybe they
Unless he-
said I couldn't see him because he said he was on vacation.
Well, is this, so is your request this evening to get the matter reviewed for dismissal, or?
Dismissal, because if you look at it, the before the mowing, well, the picture they took before the mowing,
Mhm.
I had mowed my yard. I have a pretty big yard there. That's right by the park. I had mowed my whole backyard and down my sides and in the front, and then I ran out of gas. I only had the middle part. I had mowed around all the bushes and everything, because I like to keep it looking nice. So whoever mowed, I was going to go get gas, and it was already later, so I didn't mow that day. Well, they came the next day and mowed just the very middle of my yard.
So is
Because the
somebody,
rest was all mowed.
so this right here, you didn't mow this, the person that works for this, or the city uses
Right.
did this?
Right, you can see, they went up and down the front, just in the middle. They pull up front, and then they take the mower, they're on the street, then they take the mower in and they mow, and then they get back on the,
Okay.
you know.
And just to let you know, council doesn't make the decision on how to enforce that nuisance mowing. We could edit, if we choose to, the ordinance itself, but we don't do any of the enforcement, and the conversation about dismissal would have to be with the mayor and the service director. So I appreciate you coming in to speak. We'll definitely look, but I would suggest the mayor and Kay, especially while you're here, maybe you could step out and have a conversation, and then move on from there. But unfortunately, there's no council action that we can take on that.
Other than saying, I'm sorry that has happened to you, and that you feel, I can understand how I would feel if,
It's
with
$100.
all that. Yeah.
And all they did was run up and down the strip right in the middle where I hadn't mowed.
I know exactly where you live, so I know that house. You're not too far from me, and I drive that way all the time, and I've really never seen that house out of order.
Right, and it's called nuisance mowing.
Mowing, yeah. You're not the
I'm like,
only,
What?
yeah.
Well, it says on that invoice that you were notified on May 3rd, so it wasn't about the June mowing, it was about your lawn being overgrown back in early May. Did you get a notice in May?
I got a mowing in May, that's why. But if you remember, right before that May, we got rain for like 2 months.
Okay, so,
So, I mean, it wasn't like it was like.
so, let me just, just for my own curiosity, so in May, when you got the notice, did someone from the city cut your grass, or did you cut it in time?
Oh, no, I got the notice and I
Cut
went
the
out.
grass.
I keep my grass cut
And then since
and my bushes.
Since
right here.
May, after that first incident, did you get any other notice from the city?
No, you only get one.
Okay,
That's the thing, they say they're only gonna give you one,
yeah.
so.
Okay,
um,
I get it,
See, that's what concerns me about him taking pictures and.
yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
that's,
I want you to know, too, you're not the only one that has received that. We've heard from other individuals. Unfortunately, throughout the process, I want to make sure that you get the conversation with the mayor and/or service director. But just to let you know, unfortunately, there's
You
no,
guys don't handle that.
we can't, yeah, there's nothing we can
We
do
can guide you
directly.
to it,
Yeah.
the people, but.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? If not, then we'll move on to report of committees. The committee meetings will begin on September 11th, beginning with utilities. Mr. Moskin?
The answer is yes.
All right. And information systems, Ms. West?
To be determined?
All right. Planning, Mr. Karas?
Yes, I do believe we'll have a committee meeting. I believe, is it next Monday?
Mhm. Yep.
9/11.
All right. And Committee of the Whole will be on Monday, September 18th at 6 PM. Public Health and Safety, Ms. Michael?
I have an item on tonight's agenda. As I had told you, I will not be here next week. I'll be out of town. So if there is anything that's important, either Rob or Matt could do the committee, or it can wait until, just before Committee of a Whole. So you can decide that as council president, if something does come before me, or
Enjoy.
before you on public health and safety.
And enjoy Hawaii.
Thank you.
Well,
Personnel, Mr. Calfee?
no committee meeting next week.
All right. Is there any updates from cemetery?
I was going to say, when the storm went through, there was a handful of trees that came down, but right now, after the cleanup, everything is looking very nice.
We need the storms to stop for a while.
Right, right. All right. Parks and Rec, Mr. Calfee?
No report tonight.
All right. And before we get into first reading of ordinances, I will make a mention that there's been a request for executive session at the end. So with that being said, we'll get into first reading of ordinances, beginning with ordinance number 2023-101.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, Ohio Ambulance Transportation Program grant in the sum of $20,000 and declaring an emergency.
And sponsored by Public Health and Safety, Ms. Michael?
Yes, this was already, we actually have already received the money, so there is no match. This money is going to be awarded per the budget that came out from the state to our firemen who worked during COVID. So this is a nice perk that kind of helps during those hard times, and there is no match. Like I said, it's not going to cost the city anything, and it's going to be appropriated fairly to each and every fireman on the amount of hours and time, that they work during that time. So that's all.
Questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
Ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfie?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved?
Second?
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfie?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
And then a motion to pass the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfie?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2023-102.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Ravenna Township, Ravenna School District, Village of Manaway, PMHA, and Maplewood Career Center to develop a salt consortium to purchase salt and declaring an emergency.
This is sponsored by Streets and Sidewalks. Mr. Harper?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The only thing I could add is that they'll be paying $51.61 per ton.
Okay. Any questions from council on this? Hearing none, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
And a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then a motion to pass the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2023-103.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to send out requests for proposals, RFP, for the 2023 street tree planting program and to enter into a contract for an amount not to exceed $20,000 and declaring an emergency.
And this is also sponsored by Streets and Sidewalks, Mr. Harper.
Yeah, this will be a fall planting for this year.
Any questions from council on this item? All right, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then a motion to pass the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. The next item, if you want to get out the MOU, that should be in the packet. Move on to ordinance number 2023-104.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to sign a memorandum of understanding between the city of Ravenna, Ohio, and Guido's Pizza and Catering to allow the expansion of their outdoor patio and declaring an emergency.
And this is sponsored by Planning, Mr. Karas.
So we had a meeting a week or so ago with NDS and various members of the city to iron out what would be a fair and equitable agreement once the area, the property next to Guido's on Main Street gets transferred over to the city, mainly to make sure there's an equitable lease amount for the 15 years that is in the MOU, and also that Guido's return the property to its normal state when there isn't that seating area. So I think the provisions are that Guido's will invest $40,000 or more in the renovation, that they will pay the amount of $1,000 a year as the lease, and that they, as I said, return the property to its normal state once that seating area is no longer needed.
And I do want to, I had a question before the meeting, so just to mention, it's a 7 by 30 foot section that they would be creating, that cement pad. And then in here, it says the use of revolving loan funds, excuse me, of $170,000 to fortify that wall at 214, so.
Yeah, we've already authorized that.
Right. Trying to think of what details or what questions we might get.
I have a question about the last paragraph on the lease, about the existing patio on the front, which now measures some measurement, shall be included as a lease for the restaurant for a term of 15 years.
Yeah,
To what
so-
is that referring?
So if you go to Guido's now, there's a seating area on Main Street on the sidewalk. They had gone to the Planning Commission, I don't know the exact date, and got approval for that. The Planning Commission made a contingent upon an agreement between the city and Guido's. That agreement never really materialized, and so when we put this MOU together, we thought it would be a good idea to bundle that in just to kind of, take care of that retroactively.
The other question is, the lease can be renewed after 15 years, and what are the provisions specifically that would allow a renewal? Are they listed in this MOU, or it's not in here?
I don't think there's any specific wording that suggests the conditions under which they, I think as long as they're still in business.
Okay.
Because there's another paragraph that mentions that they, remain in business.
Okay.
So, yeah, it is, maybe it could have been worded a little bit differently, like, is it another 15 years, or is it annually? It just kind of says it'll be renewed.
Well, I think the second to last paragraph, further understood that should the city decide that there may be, it is further understood that should the city decide that there may be a continued use for said property after the 15-year lease by Guido's, the city of Ravenna may determine what portions of the addition made by Guido's may remain. However, any restoration will be done at the cost of Guido's. I think that basically the idea is that it leaves the discretion to the city as to whether or not there's going to be any condition, extension of the lease, and/or perhaps even a new tenant. I don't know. It's kind of broad in that way.
So if the lease ends at 15 years and there's no additional lease, are they still able to use the property in that area?
No, I think that's the end of it.
Okay.
Well, it talks about also that they have to restore that area, whether removing the cement pad, the awning, the railing, replacing the door that's been there to match the brick or whatever,
Okay.
That is required.
Yeah, the first further paragraph talks about what happens if, at the end of 15 years or sooner, if Guido's is no longer in business. So I think
Yeah.
it's a little more general than
Yeah.
maybe another contract we might have seen in the past. But
Yeah,
we
I was
didn't have a
just-
whole lot of time.
I was just trying to get to whether it's going to, if it continues, will we have another $1,000 payment per year for it? Will it be under the same type of terms? So, okay, I'm okay with it
I would indicate to you that I would think they would be open. It would be a matter of negotiating that.
at that time. Okay.
Yeah. We won't be talking about it at this.
7-2. I'd be older than John Tanimonia when he was.
Yeah.
Any other questions from council on this MOU? All right. And thanks, Rob and Mr. Semino, for putting this together. If there's no other questions, then do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. Michael? Yes. Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then a motion to pass the ordinance.
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2023-105.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 2022-125 by amending Exhibit A, Section 10, vacations by adding an additional week of vacation after 25 years of service and declaring an emergency.
All right, this is sponsored by Personnel. Mr. Calfee?
Yes, this change to the payroll ordinance would give the additional week of vacation to non-union employees, and the intent is to match up this vacation amount of time with other union agreements.
Any questions from council on this item?
Yes, I have one. Says additional week. I was wondering, that seems vague. If I know it means 6 weeks, but if it would be any better or not to adding a 6th week or something similar, just to be a little bit more clarified. The only reason I'm saying that is if someone doesn't know additional week on top of how many weeks present.
I was thinking that the way it's worded with after 25 years of service, the amount of weeks that are in there prior to 25 years are listed, and then with the after 25 years of service in there, that I think it's clear that it's added onto it.
I was going to add to that real quick, just in the actual ordinance itself, it refers to section 10 of the actual payroll ordinance, and it specifically
Lists
walks it through. So even though the title of the ordinance may not, give you the exact 6 weeks, that section will, and that's in the actual, if you go to the actual ordinance itself, it's in there. So I think we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second,
Mr. Cares?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
Second.
Who's first?
Me.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Cares?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then a motion to pass the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Cares?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. Moving on to resolution number 2023-106.
A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Portage County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
All right, and this is sponsored, I believe, by Finance Director.
Okay, yeah, thank you. This one was discussed at Committee of the Whole. This is something we do every year. It's basically saying to the county to allow them to go ahead and set the property tax rates. As we said, it was pretty consistent with last year. It went up just a little bit, I think from like 704,000 to about 710,000. And it's an annual housekeeping item to make sure we receive those property tax dollars.
All right. Any questions from council on this item? We just need a motion to,
This is the one we all need to sign.
I was just going to ask, yeah, after, because it looks like on that title page, all council members will need to sign this. Do we have a motion to approve, though?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Cares?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
All right, that resolution is approved. Moving on to ordinance number 2023-107.
An ordinance adjusting the 2023 estimated revenues and appropriations as detailed in Schedule A and declaring an emergency.
Also sponsored by the Finance Director, Mr. Huff.
Okay. Yeah, and we also discussed this one at Committee of the Whole. This is a citywide review that's done by all of us and the department heads to look for potential shortfalls in the budget and to help us finish up 2023. The biggest changes to be of note are, that I noted, that are the wastewater plants, some chemicals, some significant price increases there, some salary lines for the new distribution workers that we had put through. When we had originally set the budget the first time, that was still in process, so we didn't have those all in there. So that'll take care of those for the rest of the year. And also we made some, and then we did have some line for street supplies for water breaks. That was a pretty significant one. And then also we reduced some of the advanced paybacks that we had in the capital fund to the water, or to the general fund. The capital funds, I don't feel comfortable enough making all those advanced paybacks quite yet. In that capital fund, we've had some pretty significant stuff. So I'd like to kind of punt that one up to next year, and hopefully we'll have the funds to do that. We always have the option to change that to a transfer if we want to, but for now, I would just like to take those out of the budget so we can feel pretty comfortable closing out 23 with the capital fund. That's the 553 fund. And those are the big changes.
All right, any questions from council on that? Hearing none, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Cares?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Cares?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to pass the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Cares?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2023-108.
An ordinance accepting a proposal provided by Love Insurance Agency, a copy of which is attached here too and marked Exhibit A for the renewal of insurance coverage for the period of September 14th, 2023 through September 14th, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
All right. And Mr. Huff, do you mind walking us through this too?
All right, one more. So this one is something we do annually. It always expires around September 14th every year. There was a pretty significant increase in the amount of coverage they're providing just due to inflationary pressures on vehicles and buildings, about 10% more coverage, which is great, except for the fact that when you have more coverage, then you have more premium. So our premium did in turn go about up 9.7%, I think it said. So it kind of followed along with the coverage increases. You know, I sent out an update. It had all sorts of other little things in there that changed here and there, but those were the main factors that caused the increase in the coverage costs.
Have we had insurance with Tokyo Marine before?
That's the one we have now.
We
Yes,
do?
It is the same one.
So
we
it's
have
the
now.
same
Yes,
policy?
same policy.
And the total cost for this policy is?
This one, the renewal is going to be $124,963.
Which is, you say, about a 6%
Yeah,
increase?
yes, it was about a 9.7% increase.
9.7
Yes, it was, yeah,
over last year.
about an $11,000 increase for the year.
Any other questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then do we have a motion to pass the ordinance?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. That's everything on first reading of ordinances this evening. We'll move on to second reading of ordinances, beginning with ordinance number 2023-98.
An ordinance approving the agreement to create the City of Ravenna Rootstown Township Joint Economic Development District and declaring an emergency.
And this is sponsored by Community and Economic Development, but I believe we've talked about this at length. If there's questions specific to what's in front of us with the JED, I know if there are further questions, Mr. West, and I see now Mr. Bogo is here, so any questions from council? All right. Do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings then?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then a motion to pass the ordinance.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted, so congratulations, Mr. West, Mr. Bogo. I know the mayor stepped out, but all the work you guys put in, I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening there, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And Mayor, congratulations. You're walking in, but we just approved the ordinance around the JED, so I'm just saying congratulations on all the work you and everyone else put in on that.
Thank you very much.
And then our final agenda item this evening on third reading of ordinances is ordinance number 2023-42.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Perspectus for design review consulting and allocating $12,000 as the city's contribution to the $30,000 cost of the contract and declaring an emergency.
And this is sponsored by Planning, Mr. Karas?
Yeah, so this is the end of a long journey where we set out to investigate whether we wanted to hire a consultant. We went through an RFQ process, evaluated 3 potential consultant firms, and ended up with Perspectus. We didn't initially have a contract with Perspectus, because in the interim, we discovered there was a CLG grant that would help pay for this. The grant is paying 60%, we're paying 40%. We've already approved the money. This is a matter of approving the contract with Perspectus. It's in your packet. It's consistent with the proposal they submitted in response to the RFQ. The total is $27,500. If there are other services, they're itemized there, but I think we understand that it's capped at $30,000, which is what the grant and what the city's contribution adds up to.
On this particular one, I just wanted to make a quick comment before I vote. I would like to say that I am aware that I know there are some people that are not happy that we are using the consulting group that we are using. I understand that there are both pros and cons to both consulting groups. I feel that the grant that we have is going to, it's going to help offset the cost of the city. And, you know, my job as a council person too is to also look at offsetting the cost. We do have boards and commissions, I understand that, and they are appointed by the mayor. I also feel that in the end, council does have the right to approve whatever plan that comes through. So in the end, we do have the ultimate say-so. I feel that if we try to stop this at this point, it's just going to be backtracking something that we've worked so long for to try to get something passed. We need to, I feel, move forward and look at the positive that this group does bring. I have talked to another community that did use them, and I did do some research on my own, and they were very happy with them. So I think if we look at both good and bad, we have to find some positive in this. I know everybody here wants the best for this historic plan, and I think that we need to take advantage of the grant money, and I would hate to see that lose the opportunity for that money. So I know this isn't, you know, an easy situation for some, and I know there's a lot of time and energy that has been put into it. So I just wanted to explain tonight the reason of my vote on pushing this forward.
Is there any other comments or questions from council? Rob, thanks again for the work on this. If there's no questions, then we just need a motion to pass the ordinance and the emergency clause. Do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause? Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
No.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then do we have a motion to pass the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
No.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. Moving on, that's everything on the agenda this evening for ordinances. We'll move on to old or new business. Is there any old or new business come before council? If not, then we'll move on to remarks. I think I was going to say the balloon affair is coming up, but Ms. Michael, I'll let you speak on that when that time comes up.
Yeah. No, I had already
Yeah.
said that we were asked to carry the sign, so
Yep.
anyone that is able to carry the sign, I will find out exactly location and spot and so forth prior to
That's
that
fine.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
next week sometime,
Yep.
when I get home.
All right. All right, well then, Mr. Harper, anything you'd like to say this evening?
Nothing additional.
Amy? Ms. Michael, excuse me?
Oh, you're fine. Just, I want to say, again, as what the mayor said, thank you to everyone with the trees, and we were very thankful, for the most part, I think, in this area, with the electricity that we had here compared to a lot of other areas that weren't so fortunate. And I would like to say thank you to Julie, the day, because I had called up here the next morning, and she was up here by herself. So she, went right through all the calls and had to talk to everyone herself. So she seemed to be, very excited to do it, and I commend her for that positive attitude the day that I called up here. So thank you, Julie, for all that hard work on that day. That's all.
Mr. Karas?
No comments for tonight, thanks.
Mr. Moskin?
Nothing this month.
All right. Mr. Calfee?
No additional comments, thank you.
Ms. West?
Just a reminder that the Ravenna City Survey is still up and running. We are running it through the month of September. It went in the water bills. So it can be accessed through the QR code, or if you go to our website, a pop-up comes up. So we have been getting results back. I am not looking at them until the end, but we are getting people filling out the survey.
All right.
It's great.
And Mayor, I can throw it to you.
Just a couple of short things. Last Thursday was a pretty good day for us. We started with the county commissioners and presenting to them on behalf of the JED. And they were unanimous in their support for the JED to the point of putting their property into it also. And then in the afternoon, a meeting that was very important to me at any rate, we've been having problems with First Energy and getting a timeline to get power to the LG's project out there, and they want to be opened by December, or ends December. We had 4 people from First Energy here and 2 of the executives from the group there, and we got things worked out, and there will be some stuff coming to council. There'll be an easement on our property for that to go through, and I'll be introducing that at the committee meetings. But we found a way to be able to get it in there, and that they can get started on getting this done so that we don't hold them up with their project. So I was very grateful for those 2 things. It was a good day on Thursday. The rest of us, I think you've already talked about. But the balloon affair, that sort of thing, I think that's it.
All right. And I know we did have a request to go into executive session regarding pending legal or litigation?
2 separate cases, the one with the township and one with Mr. Staples.
I move that we go into an executive session to discuss ongoing and pending litigation.
Second?
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin? Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And we have nothing else on the agenda this evening, so when we come out of